Author's House.
Good day, everyone. My name is Gabby, and I will be your host for today. Welcome to today's author virtual interview. I am with Elisabeth Schalij, the author of the book Markel the Magnificent, Who is Out There. Hi, Elisabeth. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and without spoiling, tell us about your book Markel the Magnificent, Who is Out There?
I started it as a result of a neighbor who had been in the army during World War II, and he was an engineer, quite profitable engineer, and later an art and book review and art and book and antique dealer. And I interviewed him because he was in World War II, and at that time in World War II, they wouldn't talk about their experiences. But he was ready to talk, so I found out a lot about him, especially that he was quite successful building airstrips in what is the country there, near Japan, so they could use the airstrips to attack Japanese enemy at that time. And he was quite successful, so when he actually died, he got the total grand funeral from the army, and they took care of him, and he was quite successful altogether.
That's wonderful. Thank you. What inspired you to write a book based on the story of an old lonely neighbor like Markel?
Well, because he at that time was living with me, and he needed to be recognized. He was an excellent sculptor, but he had to give up his sculpting when he was drafted in World War II, except for he saved one piece that was a winning piece in a show, and so that piece I still have right here. And what else would you like to know? He was worth getting recognition. He was Jewish. He came with his family to New York at the time when a lot of Jewish people came to New York, and he had quite an exciting and varied life.
Thank you. How did your personal experiences and struggles influence the writing of this book?
Well, I am old enough that I was in World War II as well as a small kid, so I knew there were many experiences that people usually don't talk about. But I was young, and I lived in the town that was the major city during World War II in the Netherlands, in the city of Arnhem, which was later told by the Germans to everybody had to leave because that was going to be the center of the war effort.
That's very inspiring. Can you share with us the journey of inviting Markel to Texas and how it impacted his life?
Well, he lived in New York, and I lived in New York. Later, I moved, and then when his wife died, I told him, "You can come over here and live with me." First, he thought he could live with his family in New York, but they said, "No, we don't want to." And so I said, "You can come and live here." And he lived with me at my home until it got to the point that he had to go into a nursing home. And first he went to a nursing home that was the kind where they lock people up and make it simple for them. And the psychiatrist of that center said Morris Mildwolf is not uh, old in his mind, or he doesn't have Alzheimer, and he isn't does not have old age. Well, whatever you call it. Well, at any rate, he was quite alert. The only thing was that his body was beginning to give up. So the psychiatrist said, send him to another nursing home that has not the fancy sofas, but they are very nice and friendly. And so I did that, and there he totally opened up, and he told me and the head nurse more about his life than he had told anybody before. And by the time that it was ready for him to die, I was there, and I said, Morris, it's all right, time to go. And so I went home, and the nurse said as soon as I got home, he died because he knew it was time for him, and he had the okay from me. So that's what happened. And after that, while he was here, I was already writing the story and making the illustrations for the book.
Amazing.
And he enjoyed that a lot.
Perfect. What message or theme do you hope readers will take away from Markel the Magnificent?
The main part is that a lot of older people would like to be recognized for what they did in the past, and the younger generation has to really be open to the older generation, encourage them to be open, because there are so many experiences that the older people had that the younger people can barely understand, because they did a lot for the country and for the world during World War II. And
how did your background in art and creating children's shows contribute to your writing process of this book?
Well, I always was illustrating and taking pictures from practically my first grade on. My first award in elementary school was actually for drawings I did of a dragon. And so my award was a silver box with a dragon on top. So the dragon has always been part of my life, but I was always an artist. Even though my family was mostly into music, and when they tried to get me to be music too, I said, no, that is not my line. Everybody in the family can play music. I can read and music, but I am not a musician, and I am an artist. I want to draw, so that's what I did.
That is very inspiring. What challenges did you face while writing a story that delves into themes of isolation, friendship, and personal growth?
What inspired me is those are the most important parts of life. Even if nowadays the whole world seems to be more like, well, the rich people are getting richer and they are thinking of themselves, and the poor people are poorer, and there's more poverty and more than ever before. But it is most important that even if you cannot change the world, you can change your neighborhood and have the neighborhood where everybody helps each other. And that's the kind of neighborhood I live in.
Wonderful. In what ways did Markel's past as a sculptor and experiences during World War II shape the narrative of the book?
Well, it was very hard for him to give up sculpting. He was learning sculpting from the then famous sculptors of the early 20th century, and he really enjoyed that. And so it was very hard for him to be drafted and give up all his sculptures because there was he no place to go, so he had to just put them out in the street, except the one that had won an award, and he kept that, and I ended up having it here in my house now.
That's amazing. How do you think the portrayal of Marco's journey can resonate with readers of all ages?
I think, for one thing, because the illustrations are whimsical, but at the same time, when you read the story, there are a lot of serious issues in the book, but because the illustrations make it more whimsical, it's also for children, and they really enjoy the whole mystery and story. It's almost like an old grim fairy tale because there it's also a matter of in the old fairy tales they give you lessons and teachings that are hidden behind the whole story.
That's very great. Thank you very much. As an accomplished visual artist, how did your artistic skills influence the visual storytelling aspect of Markel the Magnificent?
How my skill influences? Well, I was known as an artist that did not ever do the same thing twice because there are a lot of artists that are known. Oh, I recognize that because, the person always paints or draws or sculpts in the same style. And I was known for, I had many shows in the past. Over my lifetime, I've had hundreds of shows, but they always told me it's so nice because I never know what you will do next because they are never the same. And so that was my style. I didn't want to be the artist that when they see one piece, oh, that is so and so, and they came to me and said, hey, what did you do this time? Because there are certain places in Dallas that I have shown many times, like for instance, the Dallas Art Institute, Dallas Art, what's the official name? On White Rock Lake, and also I showed many times there, and I got many awards from them too, and it was particularly because people enjoyed seeing always the different art styles that I did. And I could do all the different art styles, printing, painting, sculpting. I figure I can do anything if I put my mind to it. That's how I felt. Whatever I put my mind and heart into it, I can do it.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Where can we purchase your book?
Oh, at the moment, it's available at Amazon, and the Authors Press has now all the prices available for, a small book or the hardcover or voicemail. All of it is available through Amazon or through Authors Press.
Thank you. How was your experience working with Authors Press?
Very good. Mia Castello is very easy to go and with. She has been very supportive, but I always can count on her that she is very direct and very helpful.
Thank
So
you. We appreciate that.
it's definitely a good contact, and I get endless number of people who say, "Oh, we can do a lot more than your people." But with the two children's books I have, I tell everybody I'm quite happy with the publishers, and they have done a lot for me, and I don't need any more uh, companies to get involved in.
That is very sweet. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure speaking with you.
Oh, thank you here.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for today's author virtual interview. I hope you enjoy, and please don't forget to check Elisabeth's book, Markel the Magnificent, who is out there. Happy
Yeah,
reading.
and I have told many people, and they are already buying it through Amazon. Wherever I go, I usually promote my books.
Wonderful. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Author's Class.